Hey guys, Thomas Blakemore. I teach, travel, and sometimes triumph. And this video today is going to be about these guys in the corner, puppets. This is my first video from Dubai, in my classroom in Dubai, and it's pretty much the same as any classroom anywhere in the world. So if you're watching, thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, have a little look at other videos and see if you enjoy them. And if you do, press subscribe down in the corner and we'll jump straight into it. So, puppets, let's go get them. So, these guys are the puppets that I use on a day-to-day basis. I am a huge advocate for technology in the classroom. Let's take my hands out for now. A huge advocate for technology in the classroom because I believe that it can make teachers' lives easier. And one of the things I want to do with this channel is to try and make your lives easier as teachers, to try and let you have more time at home, relaxing, because I believe it's important for well-being. Another thing I'm hugely keen and passionate about. So, puppets, they're sliding all over the place. I'm gonna leave this one here. Not happening. Out of the way. So I've recently moved from year 6 down to year 2, and that for me was quite a daunting process. I was used to the maturity and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do as a teacher to try and engage the children that I'm now teaching. Year 6, the puppets would sometimes come out and it was more of a novelty, and that novelty soon wore off, but now and again I'd bring them out for sort of PSHE reasons, and we'll get into that as a little tip. This video is going to be about storytelling and other ways that puppets can be useful, and if you decide, yeah, I'm going to give it a try, I'm going to give you some tips on how to use them in the classroom. First and foremost, storytelling. I love storytelling. Puppets are a really good way to tell stories, not just reading stories, although they can do that, verbal, short stories. I'm going to share with you a story that I shared with my children earlier on today, and it's based on the Three Little Pigs, but I brought in this guy, the shark. Let's jump straight into it. So, he went up to the first fish, and the first fish, he lived in a house of seaweed.
Yeah.
And it was a yucky, disgusting. Can you use your vocabulary words? Can you think of any other words other than yucky and disgusting to describe the seaweed?
Gross.
Hands up.
Gross.
Gross?
Disgusting.
Sharky said, yes I will. And he chomped. And he chomped. And he chomped as hard as he could, and he got the seaweed. But did you know what? He managed to escape. And the fish managed to swim over to his friend. And his friend lived in a different house. Frustrated, Sharky was really, really sad.
Or mad.
So, he swam over to the next house. So, he swam up to the next house, and did you know that the next house, strangely, was made of loose stones? And the two fishes inside looked at each other, a little bit scared. And the shark swam up, and he said, fishy, fishy. You remember the rest? Fishy, fishy, come with me. You're going to be
in my belly.
So, the fishes looked at each other a little bit scared, but they decided to put on a brave face. And at this point, they said, Sharky, Sharky, you can't get me because I'm the real king of the
sea.
So, as well as using puppets to tell the stories, you can also start to use them to ask questions. Now, it's something I've started to use more and more. He swam over to the next house. If you were a fish in one of these houses right now, how would you be feeling? Let's use our inference Iggy skills. How would you be feeling? Peyton?
Really scared.
Scared, maybe, yeah. Can you use a better word, vocabulary word, for just scared? Amelia?
Terrified.
Oh, terrified, really? So you might be feeling one of those things. Let's think about what do you think? What do you think the shark might now do?
He would chop, 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 and then he goes out. Like until
He's going to chomp and chomp until he can catch the fishes. Fishes? Now, if I was being a really, really good teacher in that little phase there, I would have definitely got them to write down words, vocabulary on whiteboards, show them, again, developing that greater thinking rather than just asking 1 or 2 children for better words. So I fully understand that telling stories by memory is something that's quite complex, and it took me quite a bit of time to 1, memorize just that story, and 2, get over the barrier of being confident and actually doing it. And as a bonus, actually getting it right and not being afraid to make mistakes. So storytelling is one way in which puppets can be used to develop classroom practice. Behaviour management is something which I thought I would really struggle with coming from year 6 to year 2 and them not having the maturity to understand the behaviour strategies that I use in year 6. I've adapted them, and puppets have been brought in really well to adapt and change my behaviour strategies to try and get my children more engaged. A bit big brothery, I often tell my children that Sharky or Mr. Rex, the 2 puppets which you saw earlier, are watching constantly. Now, I'm pretty sure that they know that they're not. However, to them, they need to try and be more behaved and think about the way that they behave in the classroom, because it has an impact towards the end of the week. During the end of the week, the puppet tells me who has been especially well behaved, and from there, they're able to take the puppet home, and over the weekend, they spend that time with the puppet and gaining a better relationship. That's going to come into the tips later on. And from there, then they can print a photo, and we're making a nice little display around the outside of things that they get up to over the weekend. Initially, it was just behaviour. However, now at the start of the week, I outline expectations. So now rather than behaviour, it might be who can present their work the best in all lessons throughout the week. So there's a real stimulus to be well presented in work. It might be who can produce the best quality handwriting, but it gives them that stimulus to want to do that well. The puppets are really good for playing devil's advocate. And what I mean by that is in MEC or PSHE, depending on what curriculum you're doing, Dubai, UK, whichever, the more personal subjects, the puppet can play a really good devil's advocate. So let's say we're talking about fair situations where a child has been bullied. You can start to think about, it's quite comedic, the puppet being the devil, and if you've only got 1 puppet, then it's the devil. If you've got 2, you can have 1 as the angel, 1 as the devil, or yourself as the angel, and the puppet is the devil. So from your perspective, you're given the good side, so you'd be going along the lines of, oh, I would tell the teacher, and the puppet in the corner would be saying something along the lines of, I'd call him nasty names back. Did I really just do that on camera? Wow. Oh well, confidence. So that's one way that you can play devil's advocate, and be creative with it. I'm sure that you guys will be able to think of way more ideas than just myself. So for you, be creative with that process and think about how you can bring it in to your personal subjects. Mental health. Now, this is somewhere where the tone changes a little bit. Puppets, for me, especially with some of the younger children, are a really good tool to develop mental health and help those children when they are having hard days. I've got this quote that is a bit deep and metaphorical, but I've recently come up with it, and it's, when a child or person is unable to control themselves and their emotions, it is much easier for them to control something else. In this case, a puppet. A puppet is something that you can control. You can express emotions through puppets. So I often give my children the opportunity to just simply play with them, especially if they're having a bad day, or look after them so that they can express their emotions through that and gain that comfort through the puppet. Additionally, the puppet for some children becomes a voice. I've got children who were quite shy in the past who have become more and more confident because they can talk through the puppet and have that as something that whispers something into my ear. That comes from year 2 all the way to some of my older children in year 6. Those people who are quite anxious and closed suddenly become more expressive when using a different tool. So I think, if nothing else, mental health is one thing that is a priority in schools and across the nation and globe at the moment. Puppets are a really good thing to develop that. So that was one reason, and one critical reason, why I would pick puppets in the classroom. Have the confidence, take a deep breath and go for it. because when you do that, the children will lap it up and they will absolutely love it. The amount of times that children are super engaged, as soon as I get the puppet out, I don't even have to do anything, the children are just fixated. Be aware of how long you keep the puppet out. So if I'm having this conversation here at the moment and this puppet isn't really doing anything, then what's the point in it being out? So when the puppet's out, be really engaged with it, have it whispering to you, but as soon as you're finished with it, remember, don't just have it sitting around, because the children will become desensitized and numb to the puppet being there, which takes away from the whole engaging purpose of having that in the first place. And my final tip for you guys is, and I can't stress it enough, to relax, because when you're relaxed, the children feel more relaxed and it makes the whole process a lot easier. Start to learn a few different stories if you can, but understand that you're going to make mistakes. And he said, Sharky, Sharky, no you're not. No, it's not. And he said, Sharky, Sharky, you won't get me, because I'm the actual king of the CCC. It happens, but the more you do these things and the more you start to integrate them, the better you're going to get. A lot like anything in teaching. This has been my first Teach video for a long time, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to go through my channel and check through some of the other travel vlogs and teaching vlogs that I've made. I've also made tips videos for some of the kids, so have a watch of those. And don't forget to hit that all important subscribe button, like, and if there's anything that you want to ask it down in the comments, guys. Really enjoyed this episode. It's been quite different to my normal stuff. So yeah, check out other videos, and for now, I'm out. See you in a bit. Shark won't get me, because I'm the actual king of the CCC. It's good, isn't it? Good, right? So, Sharky said, yes, I will. And he chopped. He chopped. And he chopped as hard as he could.